To another edition of LinkedIn Local. And today I have with me a local hero, celebrity, friend. I don't know. What do I call you? Frank King. How about that?
International pariah.
International pariah.
When he's not busy starting a pandemic.
I wasn't even going to bring that up.
Please bring that up, Marty.
Well, let's talk about that, okay? Because this whole social distancing thing has, I think, in my mind, affected interaction on a whole different scale. And you were one of the first people to actually have it affect you in real time. So tell me, how did that affect your life? How has this whole thing affected your life, Frank?
Well, being patient zero, according to some people. You guys know I was in Cambodia. I was there on a cruise ship. The problem was there was another cruise ship near us, the Diamond Princess, which was ravaged by the virus. I was on the Westerdam. Not one of the 2,500 passengers or crew ever had it. We were never quarantined. I was not told to stay in the hotel. Holland America just asked if we would so they could keep track of us. And I had a gig coming up. And people go, "You did it for money." Well, yeah. So I spent $1,600 on an Emirates flight. I spent 14 hours in coach to get home to do an engagement, which I ended up losing, although I sued them and got the money. Thank you, Legal Shield.
All right.
Legal Shield.
Legal Shield plug.
I didn't actually have to sue them. Legal Shield in Portland had me contact a Legal Shield outfit in Chicago, because Illinois, where the Speakers Bureau was, and they sent him a letter and said, "Look, you can't do this." He was ready, willing, and able. I know it's a public event and you're worried about nobody showing, but that's not his problem.
Right.
And so they, thanks to Legal Shield, cut me a check that'll pay my dues for like 25 months. Thank you, Legal Shield.
Nice. All right. So
anyway, so I came back to the U.S., cleared by the CDC on both ends. But, that was not good enough because every article that appeared, television, internet, wherever, starting with quarantine comedian slips quarantine, which is not true. I knew I'd get fired in the cruise business at some point. I've been fired off 3 ships already.
Now, to be clear, this was like early on. To be very clear for everybody, this was like early on when nobody knew exactly how big this was going to be, what to do. This was like 2 weeks into it before it came to the States, right?
Yeah, well, the first guy died first guy who contracted was in Seattle on the 20th of January. I didn't go to Hong Kong until the 1st of February to catch the ship, and I got off the ship on the 16th of February and came through Seattle, which of course they blamed me for all those, everybody was sick and dying in the Northwest, plus the stock market crashing. So it was early on, and back when Trump was still saying, 15 people, and they'll be down to 0 pretty soon. It's not going to be a big deal. Yeah.
Zeros.
Anyway, I got blamed for it. The trolls came after me. I had to change my home phone number, deactivate 3 social media accounts. Guy calls me up, goes, "You came back to Lane County to kill everybody." I go, "No, I got a list, and you just made the VIP section." Yeah. So, anyway, that was my international pariah. Oh, I got fired from Holland America. I'd already been fired off Princess, Carnival, and Royal Caribbean. Same reason each time. Cruise director, wrong one, wrong time, personality conflict. I'm a Sagittarius. He was a putz. So
we have this problem, you and I, Sagittarius. We're a little too direct for folks.
Yeah.
I think it's a problem.
Yeah, people say, "Are you Frank?" When we meet, "Are you Frank?" Yes. Often, and to my detriment, generally.
So you're not on the high seas anymore.
No, my cruise career is over. Because Holland America got all kind of heat for letting me leave the hotel. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about this really cool new logo that I got over my shoulder. Let's talk about this. What is that representing? What are you doing now?
Actually, I was on LinkedIn, and I have like 13,700 some odd connections. Because I work it. I try to generate, and one of the connections I got was a business coach. And she goes, "Look, I can't afford, I've already spent a ton of money this year. I can't afford to have you coach me to do a TEDx." She goes, "How about this? We'll do a barter thing. I'll be your business coach. and you coached me to do TEDx. Yes. And so she said, look, Frank, I think you're leaving money on the table. You're doing the TEDx coaching, but you don't have a website anymore. You got a page on your site about it, but you need a site dedicated to TEDx coaching so you can do the SEO and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And then when we were talking about the page, and her website guy roughed it out for me, she goes, you need a logo. And she has a young woman who she works with at Upwork who does logos. And so that's one of the four. She gave me four with a variety of color schemes. One where my name is black and the bubble is white. Anyway, that was the genesis of that. So that's on my TEDx coaching website that should be up here pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And this site right here that you're looking at now is also going to be revamped and put on the blueprint for the same blueprint as the TEDx site, so the colors will match.
So is this this is not the TEDx one?
No.
That's
TEDx one is not up yet. Oh, look at Uranus Fudge Factory. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Like I said, did I not get that link?
Yes, that's me doing a keynote. There's two of my TED Talks. And all this is going to be on the new site.
Okay. And you'll let us know when that launches, right? So we can take a look. Awesome.
And can you scroll back down, Marty?
I sure can.
Okay. For would-be speakers, I'd put a video at the top, if not more than one. And then above the fold, I'd put learning objectives, because that's what the meeting planner wants to know. What are you going to teach my people? So.
Well, I definitely know I want to work with you, because I tried to do the TED Talk here that they had locally, and I've got a really great idea, and I think I've shared it with you with my Choose Your Movie, Change Your Life, and they totally shut me down. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? This is the coolest thing ever. They shut me down cold.
It's all in the pitch, Marty. I tell my students, look, here's the deal. They get 100 or more applications generally.
Right.
And so your application has to stand out, has to grab them. Like the 5th TED Talk I did in November, the title was Mental Health and the Orgasm, Treat Your Depression Single-Handedly. Which obviously,
grabber.
Yeah, and first line in the TEDx is, I love my iPhone, but it's my second favorite handheld device. Yeah, and the one I did, Suicide, the Secret of My Success, Dead Man Talking, I sent to half dozen TEDx committees, curation teams. And on the 6th one, the day after I sent it, I got a call, and they said, you're on. I go, no audition, no call. Like, no, we want you. With a title like that, we want you on there. So that's the trick, Marty, is that, it needs to be such that when they see it, they got to read on, and they can't not continue reading and seeing what. So title, subtitle, description's got to be really catchy.
Well, we'll talk about that at some point. I mean, I think I really want to make sure I still keep understanding what you're doing, because I always love working with you, because you're just so to the point. You and I kind of bounce back and forth. We both have had yours more illustrious of a career in comedy. Mine was more of an amateur, just goofing around in comedy, but we do share that funny vein, which I do appreciate. So tell me, as far as from the business that you're working towards, this is it. This is what you're going to be focusing on now, is the TED Talk coaching, or?
No, actually what happened was, Marty, I kept getting phone calls from people, speakers and comedians. I want a TED Talk. You got 4 TED Talks. I want a TED Talk. Okay. And I was just coaching them for nothing. I was working with them on title, subtitle, description, whatever. And somebody said to me, dude, I just paid $4,800 to something called the Idea Collective to help me get a TED Talk. And I said, $4,800? She said, yeah. I said, well, now I know my new price point.
$4,900, $4,750.
And that's good. I'm doing $39.97. Okay. But they do 5 people in a group once a week for an hour, Zoom. Mine is 1 person, 1 hour a week, unlimited texts and emails, and it's a till death do us part deal. I'll work with you an hour a week until you get a TED Talk or die trying. And if you have adult children who would like to do a TED Talk and you want to leave me in the will to them, like Packers tickets, then I'll work with them if you're gone.
That's
So,
awesome.
and I'm also offering a group class of 5 or 6, no more, at about a third that price because not everybody can afford. But I got 3 clients at $4,800 right now,
See,
and
that's
one of them
great.
just got a TED Talk.
That plays off of it. I hate to go take us back to high school. I remember when I was growing up, I had a choir teacher, a choir instructor. I was in show choir, the Madrileres, and we were leaving practice one day, leaving rehearsal, and I don't know why she asked me this question. Maybe because I was just cutting up in class like normal, and she asked what I want to do when I grow up, and I went, I don't know. I'm a junior in high school. I have no clue what I want to do when I grow up. And she said, well, why don't you figure out what you like to do a lot and then do that really well? And at some point, people will pay you money for that. And I said, well, okay, I like to talk a lot. Kind of think I'm funny. So it all came down to communication and interactional style and what I do to help people communicate. I think I'm kind of funny sometimes. So putting that to you, you love doing TED Talks and you do love helping people and you're making money doing it. It's like you're making money from your passion. And that's what I try to tell people when I try to coach them on what they do with their careers, their businesses. Find something you enjoy.
Well, and that's how I coach my speakers, because I also coach speakers, wannabe speakers, speakers who are just starting, speakers who are in, they want to ramp up their career or crawl up the food chain. I go, look, here's the deal. The topic I believe you need to be talking about is one you're passionate about.
Right.
And ideally, one that's organic to you. And because depression and suicide run in my family, it's called generational depression and suicide. And because I came close enough to killing myself, I can tell you what the barrel of my gun tastes like. And because I have 2 mental illnesses, major depressive disorder and chronic suicidal ideation.
Hey, we have so much in common. I've got depression, anxiety diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, and yeah, so we relate on some levels there.
So Scott Stewart, a friend of ours here in Eugene, Springfield, also a speaker, said to me, how'd you pick your topic? And I said, Scott, the topic picked me. So ideally, I believe, to succeed as a speaker, the topic needs to pick you. And in 2014, I did my first TEDx talk, came out as depressed and suicidal at age 52. Nobody knew. My folks, my family, my wife, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody at greeters. I don't know if you were there, Marty, but I got a call one Tuesday, I think, and they said, Frank, the speaker bailed out. This is back when they used to do it at the Moose Lodge on Wednesdays, I think, maybe Thursdays. Anyway, speaker bailed out. Would you come in and take their place?
Was that Springfield Breeders or was that Eugene?
Springfield.
Yes, I think I do remember that.
And I said, yeah, if I can come in and do a dress rehearsal of my TED Talk. And they said, sure. I'm sure they thought I was going to be, humor, funny, comedy. And so it was my first TED Talk called A Matter of Life or Death. I was coming out as depressed and suicidal. And so I had my face in my notes as I'm doing it. I'm running the PowerPoint, not really paying attention to the audience. I get done. I look up. They're all standing. Half of them are crying. They're all applauding. And I thought, maybe on to something.
I remember that. I do remember that because I was like, that's not the Frank I know.
That's not the Frank anybody knew, Marty. That was nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. And by the way, a half dozen people over the next few weeks came up to me privately, and each one had a story about themselves or their family members who had issues with depression, perhaps thoughts of suicide. One has a child with schizophrenia that I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I thought, this is my topic. This is what I'm going to do. So that's 2014. So I began to rebrand with that TED Talk. And then 2018, January 1st, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to market myself as a comic anymore or market, motivational networking speeches. I'm just going to market suicide prevention. Just going to pick a lane and go. And then shortly thereafter, I picked 4 or 5 occupations that have a high rate that are trying to do something about it. Dentists, veterinarians, doctors, construction, and safety managers. So those are the only markets I actively go after. So I've got a niche, which is mental health suicide. And then another niche, which is those 4 or 5 businesses.
Those 4 careers, okay.
Yeah, so because they say in the speaking business, the riches are in the niches. And I swear to God, I mean, I've known that for decades. But when I made that decision on January 1st, 2018, it was almost like you could hear puzzle pieces falling into place. And I bumped my fee from 3,500 back in January of 18. It's now 7,500 to 15,000. And I haven't gotten 15 yet. Got a couple
Right.
10. And it's a little unsettling. It's a little when they hand you a check for $10,000 after 45 minutes. A friend of mine said, you could have gone into the same conference room with a gun and not gotten as much money as you walked out with after 45 minutes of a keynote.
Mm-hmm.
But I sincerely believe, Marty, that the reason that I'm able to charge that kind of money is because I picked a lane.
And you're passionate.
Yeah, and I wake up, I go to sleep thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it. And also, there in 2018, over that Christmas holiday on a boat somewhere, cruise ship, I began thinking about the people I know who are most successful. And they all do one thing. Todd's auto body. That's all Todd does is auto body. John Malkay, radio, period, paragraph. Musgrove, funeral homes.
Right.
So I thought, I'm just going to do, because I was doing all kinds of things, selling radio, and I was doing this and doing that. And I thought, I'm just going to do one thing. I'm just going to let everything else go.
I almost feel like you're sending me a subliminal message because I do so many things.
It's not meant to be subliminal, by the way. I was hoping that would be the outcome of our conversation today is Marty would pick something.
Marty, pick a lane, damn it.
Yeah.
Maybe after we get done social distancing or while we're doing this social distancing, maybe that's exactly what I'm going to have to do. It's not even so much a matter of, it's not even a justification. These are things that I'm passionate about doing. I love DJing. I love entertaining. I love doing that. I love getting into that whole tech thing and finding people's problems with, I can't believe you're paying this much money for your services, for managed service, for business. Why are you doing this? What do you mean you can't get your rep on the phone to fix a problem? That's stupid. And now doing what I'm doing with LinkedIn Local, this has been a great addition to what I did with business, restructuring conflict and things that go on in structural dynamics and whatnot. I love that stuff. It's hard to give up one. I'm like, but I love them all.
I know, Marty. I do. And here's the problem.
You're asking me to lose a leg, Frank.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, Marty, that you and I have the same issue, I think, is, I love my networking speech. I gave my networking speech, WWDD, What Would Dixie Do, at a Eugene Readers meeting. I did 15 minutes. I made them laugh. I made them cry. I got a standing ovation. So I think you and I have I think it's this almost a curse that there are a lot of things we can do well. And so, it's tempting to, and I got to tell you, last time we had a recession or something like this.
Yes.
Financial collapse, although the economy collapsed that time. This time it's just been ramped down on, mandatorily. So the economy is still solid underneath all this. Mm-hmm. It's not like the banks were selling mortgage-backed securities this time. But last time it happened, I started casting about for something else to do rather than diving deep into my speaking business. And this time I've doubled down on, like I said, they're getting the websites rebuilt. I've got a business coach. I'm working hard. I'm about to put up LinkedIn ads, Google ads for my business, this business. So, but the temptation, Marty, I got to tell you, is I think I could do that. Shiny object, I could do that.
Well, but it's also tough for me too, because as much as I love my ego, and I do, I really, really love my ego, I try so much to stay behind the scenes. I really do. Even with what I'm doing with the relationship dynamics of what I'm writing, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want everybody to just like, hey, let's go see Marty. Marty's the guy. Marty knows. No, you know it. That's the whole concept of my stimulus is, I just want to help you. You're the I in my stimulus. Without you, you can't figure it out. I just wanted you to understand I'm a good sounding board to let you know, yeah, you're on the right track. Let me continue that thinking with what I know. So I think,
Marty, you can do that from the platform in keynote form. You could share your thoughts, your experiences, your lived experiences, as they say in the mental health business. Mm-hmm. You could educate people in groups, reaching out to them in the form of a keynote. Science, technology, education. Oh, that was one of my TEDx talks.
Yeah, I'm just going through.
Born to be funny.
Yeah, and I will tell you, this is actually
Born to be funny.
why I actually dig a lot of what you do and what's inspired me and what's driven my connection to you is just your transparency is a good word. You know, because a lot of people that struggle with mental health, because when I was a drug dealer back in a former life, sorry, pharmaceutical rep for anybody that actually was watching the video still at this point. So I think at this point, this is one of the
I
long ones.
believe that would be freelance pharmaceutical rep.
That's right. I actually used to work in the antidepressant drug class. So I'm very familiar with the disease state. And many people, there's a stigma behind people that suffer behind anxiety and depression. So for someone to
Oh
be
yeah.
as transparent as you are, Frank, and being so upfront and being so vocal and visible with it, it helps people like us that suffer from this sort of thing. You know, mine was always situational. Over the last year to two, it's developed into a chronic situation. People don't understand. It's not something to be ashamed of. It is something you can function with. There has to be behavioral mods, things that you can do as well. But that's something that I have always said. I don't know if I've ever told you directly, but I think that's something that you should know. It brings a lot of encouragement to people that, at least to me, that you are so upfront and vocal and so transparent with what you deal with. Because many people don't understand it's something you don't have to leave in the closet. You can actually bring it out.
Well, and I did a post on LinkedIn this morning. I was a post of a podcast I had done, and if you go to the podcast page, this line is on there because it's something I said during the podcast. I may be the most positive thinking suicidal person you know. That's how I tagged it at the top, right? And I put, I may be the most positive suicidal person you know, Frank King. And I think that, Marty, I think if you got up and shared the same way and were vulnerable the same way, I believe you would draw people to you and you would let them know they're not alone, and they'd be lined up after you got done speaking to share their story with you and give you a big fat check. So.
Big fat checks are always good versus no checks working straight commission, because this is what my check looks like right now.
Yes, but you file for unemployment, I hope.
Yes, unemployment I have, yes.
Okay, yeah, because I got a note. I went to the site this morning and my application was in and my first week's claim was in. And it's so cute. We normally cut the checks one business day after your claim is received. I'm thinking, not given the sheer numbers
of the people that are doing it. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, Brad McKinney,
Yes.
Friend of Scott Stewart.
Yes,
yeah. He works for the Morgan. Well, they've retasked him and a number of his fellow employees to the unemployment department or whatever, because, they got tens of thousands of, but here's my thought, Marty. This is if I were your speaker coach, I would use the 26 weeks that Oregon gives us of unemployment plus the $600 for 4 months, the feds a week, 600 a week for 4 months, the feds are going to give us. And then the 13 weeks, past the 26 weeks of Oregon again, thanks to the feds. That's 39 weeks. Might be a good time to begin to ramp up a speaking career, maybe.
Just get known. It's time to get known. On a broader,
then getting known nowadays is all about, it's all about SEO, basically.
SEO and followers. 100%.
Yeah. I didn't understand how important connections were until I got a phone call from it's a friend of mine and his wife who created something called eBodyguard. It's an app you put on your phone. And eBodyguard. Yeah, and it's kind of like the old button, help I fall and I can't get up.
Oh, okay.
But it's an app. And you can set it up on your phone so that if you have fallen and can't get up and you scream at your phone, it can hear you and it can call help.
Nice.
And they said to me, look, we'd like to help.
I saw that post today. That's right. I did see that post. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And it's free. They were going to do you buy it. And then they looked at the other people who were doing similar and who have you buy it. And they weren't doing that well. So they thought, you know what, we should give it away and then just do in-app sales, which is brilliant. But they called me and they said, we'd like you to help us with the launch. I'm like, why would you want a 63-year-old guy to help you launch an app?
Right.
And they go, well, you got 13,775 connections on LinkedIn. I thought, That's why they're in.
Ah,
That's why,
yep.
because that's the metric
You know,
nowadays.
it is so true because when I actually have pitched my idea for my book to a few different of the old school publishing houses that are out there, I thought it was the old school way of send me what you've written so far to this point and we will determine if it's worthy. Every single one. How many followers do you have? How many followers do you have? How many followers do you have? Like, okay, got it.
Well, and I got a friend, a childhood friend, who works for Doubleday something, a big publishing house. And we were chatting about a friend of mine who written a book, a memoir. She's a jazz pianist. And he said, well, here's the deal, Frank. What we want nowadays is we want to publish a book where the person who wrote the book has a podcast and at least 5,000 downloads every however often, or 5,000 subscribers. Otherwise, we just, we're not really, we need them to bring us a ready-made market for the book.
Right.
Fortunately, she's on 100 NPR stations with a thing called Jazz Inspired, a little show, and she's got that many followers and subscribers and downloads. So they took her on. But Bantam Doubleday Dell. I didn't realize that the whole
huge.
And I was talking to some LinkedIn expert that I met on LinkedIn. He goes, "How many followers? How many connections?" I go, 13,000. He's like, "What? How old are you?" 63.
So let me ask you. You've been doing stuff for God so many years. We just talked about narrowing focus into something specific. So now, knowing what you're doing, how am I referring people to you? What should I be listening for?
Oh, well, the reason I stopped going to greeters, that's my one of my 3 German Shepherds. Rescue German Shepherds. The reason I stopped going to greeters, both Eugene and Springfield, because Todd of Todd's Auto Body at a Springfield greeters meeting one morning said to me, "Frank, have you ever made any money on these people?" I said, "No." He goes, "What the hell are you doing here?" Good question. So I quit because there's nobody in the county who can afford to pay me to do what I do.
Right.
They call up, they go, "What do you charge?" I go, "You don't want to know."
Yeah.
Because it's although if you have a charity event and you need me last minute and I'm in town, I'll do it for nothing. But,
okay, that's good to know. So you will consider charity events. That is good to know.
Yeah, the catch is, Marty, is they want to advertise me at the charity event how many ever days, weeks before the charity event to draw people in. And I said the problem with that is if I get a full fee gig, I'm gonna have to bail out.
Right.
So, and there's always a drop dead deal on the advertising, and so I'm a really good. I got into Vistage speaking. I'm a Vistage speaker.
I don't know what that means.
Vistage is a group where CEOs get together every week because a lot of them are small business CEOs, and there's nobody else at the C-level in their business to bounce things off of. So they get together as a group, and because they all have similar issues.
Okay.
For every week. And it's
like a mastermind class or a mastermind group. Gotcha.
Mastermind group for CEOs. Well, the problem is they pay a small amount of money plus travel, and I realized after I got in there I can't take a Vistage speaking gig for $500 plus airfare because I might get another gig, at 10 times that much. So it's a great organization. It's a great organization if you're just beginning speaking. If you can get in because you're in front of potential customers. CEOs.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So here's a good referral from me, and this is your first lesson in speaking for me, and we've talked about this, Marty.
Yeah.
You have to find out who your ideal client is, and generally, for most speakers, ideal client is association or corporation that has an annual meeting, uses outside speakers, has enough money to float your fee, and most importantly, they have a bleeding need for what it is you have to say. And that's why I chose dentists, doctors, veterinarians, because they, one physician kills themselves every day in the U.S.
Right.
So they have a bleeding need to hear what I have to say.
Right. Well, I think now I'm amazed at how everything's kind of shaken out for me this year because the whole topic of what I've been writing on for decades now. Okay, it's only been 1 decade, well, 1.5 decades. Feels like it's been like three. Is the whole relationship dynamic, and now that it's changed so much with the social distancing, people are going to have to really reevaluate once they get to go back into the group world of, hey, now we're back all together. What are these relationships really like? What was the thing that kept us together? How was this work interaction actually? Was it really that serious? Was it really that important? Was the drama really all of that? Now that we've been apart from each other for so long, what I
Well,
have is like the timing is right now for that, and so it's I'm pretty happy about where things are.
well,
Unfortunately,
and I put together a keynote on, it's called Social Distancing and Staying Sane. And I built a one sheet, one pager. And then when somebody said, oh, we'd love to have you do a webinar on that, then I actually wrote the keynote. I never write the keynote until somebody buys it.
right?
People don't go into comedy, Marty, because they have a great work ethic. So I don't do any work unless somebody's going to pay for it. But if you have something like that, that's that topical that you can put 45 minutes together on plus 15 a Q&A,
Absolutely. Yeah,
then
I've
all
already
you
got
need
it.
is one pager, a little video demo of you doing it, and then you can begin to work on your SEO, on that topic. And the nice thing about speaking is you can keep all your other jobs, Marty,
True,
your
because it
jobs, whatever
fits.
it is,
Yeah.
and do it as your side hustle until it gets to be your real hustle. If that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Okay.
So you don't have to give it all up. I know you love DJing, and you love eye stimulus
Yes.
and the phone, the communications, but let that support your speaker habit.
This is one more thing to add to the vein. I like it though. I do.
Well, and
I'm gonna wrap us up though because we are right at about way too long, and people are like, God, these guys could like talk. Are they gonna kiss and like what? They like love each other. So, what parting thoughts can you give me before I wrap up?
let's see, what the guy that owns the Chargers? All's well that ends.
All's well that
That
ends.
ends. Yeah, that was a guy. I can't think of his name, but he's owned the Chargers for decades. Spanos, Alex Spanos.
Oh, okay, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to put all your contact information. I used to use the question I ask at the end of all of these, Frank, is what's the best way to get a hold of you? But as you showed me and as I had up, there's like 60 million different ways to get a hold of you. So I will
Website
put all those. I'll put all those in the links. If you want to give me your phone number right now, and I'll also type it. What number can people get a hold of you at?
858 405 5653.
Fantastic. And like I
And
said,
Marty,
I will
why
put
is
that
this
in the
not a
notes.
podcast, by the way?
I'm sorry?
Why is this not a podcast?
Good question. I don't know. We'll
Okay.
talk about that.
Yeah, because that'd be another piece of speaking advice. Look, get a podcast, get it now.
Deal. I need to start doing that. I literally, there's a lot of things that you're opening my eyes up with just this 1-2-1. Hence why I'm doing these things, right? Okay.
You got the setup. I mean, you got the background, the camera, the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you certainly have a guest on every week. You got plenty of people that I'm sure would love to be a guest with you every week. So.
Oh, dude, my calendar's already booked. So absolutely. I think I like it. Frank, thank you. I'm going to turn the camera off. You don't go anywhere, Frank. But everybody, thanks for being with us. Frank, say goodbye.
I can't go anywhere, Marky.
I know. I have to end the meeting. Oh, I forgot. Social distancing. Stay at home. Don't go outside.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere for several months. So take your time.
All right, buddy. Thanks again for being with me. And everybody else, take a look for this. And if you have questions, again, there'll be place the comment in the comment section. Take a look at the links. Go check out Frank's information. There'll be several ways you can get a hold of him. And if you are curious about how to do a coffee talk with me, definitely reach out. But Frank, thanks again.
Yeah, man. My pleasure.
We'll talk to you.